Newport, Rhode Island in the summer is a magical place, Jeff.
It is. The beaches, the restaurants, the boats.
Oh, and speaking of boats, we're standing on the southeastern shore of Brenton Cove in Newport Harbor. There's boats everywhere.
Yeah, there sure are. There's countless sailboats. They're anchored all around the harbor, and we're standing by a pier that leads out to a yacht club. We can see old Fort Adams off to our left there across the cove, and over there is the haunted Rhode Island Lighthouse over there by the bridge. Beautiful area.
Oh, it's a pretty spot for sure.
So Newport has always been a busy and important harbor for boats and ships. That's been true for centuries. Though today that building at the end of the pier is a yacht club, it was once a lighthouse. A lighthouse that was home to a hero named Ida Lewis. Hello, I'm Jeff Belanger.
And I'm Ray Auger. Welcome to episode 356 of the New England Legends podcast.
We appreciate you joining us on our mission to chronicle every single legend in New England, one story at a time. And did you know we get most of our story leads from you? It takes a community to find all these great legends, and we're grateful to be on the hunt with you. So you can reach out to us anytime through our website and tell us about a story you think we should check out.
We'll go searching for Ida Lewis right after a word from our sponsor. Okay, now the name of the yacht club makes more sense.
Right?
Across the top of the archway that leads to the long pier out to the small island says Ida Lewis Yacht Club.
Named after the hero of our story. Now, before that was a yacht club, before they built the roughly 800-foot-long pier leading out there, that was Lime Rock Island, home to Lime Rock Lighthouse.
The Lime Rock Lighthouse was first constructed in 1854. It was only 13 feet tall. Considering how close it is to the shore, I guess they figured if your boat or ship got this far into the harbor, you probably didn't need to see the beacon any higher than that.
Makes sense.
Now, the lighthouse was replaced by a simple skeleton tower in 1927 and then discontinued in 1963. It later became a yacht club named after the island's most famous resident.
Though the waters here are typically pretty calm because we're in a cove within a larger harbor, that doesn't mean they're not without danger. Storms can swell the seas and make these normally serene waters a pretty big hazard. Winds can gust and storms can rage. So let's head back to the year 1854 and check out Lime Rock Lighthouse.
It's the spring of 1854 here in Newport Harbor, and Captain Hosea Lewis has just been transferred to lighthouse service and has been appointed the keeper of the new Lime Rock Light. Lime Rock Light is located on a small island, but it's close enough to the shore that a rowboat can get to the mainland pretty quick, so it's not nearly as isolated as some lighthouses.
Captain Lewis and his wife, Ida Wally, have 4 children together. Their second oldest is Ida Wally Zoradia, or Ida for short, named after her mother. She's 12 years old when her dad takes over the duties at Lime Rock Light.
Ida was born right here in Newport and has grown up around the water. She's a strong swimmer, but boats are still new to her. She didn't row her first boat until her father took over Lime Rock Light, but she's a fast learner. Pretty quickly, Ida masters the rowboat the family uses to ferry themselves and supplies to and from the mainland. Ida is a big help around Lime Rock Light, too. Each day, she rows the boat to the mainland so her siblings can get to school. Her father teaches her to trim the wick and replace the oil in the lighthouse. And lighthouse life suits her. She's always watching the skies for storms and the seas for signs of trouble.
It's now October 1857. Something seems off with Captain Lewis. He's turning pale. He's grabbing his chest.
Oh, he just fell to the ground.
Is he dead?
No, I don't think so. He's still breathing.
Oh, okay.
Ida and her mother are helping him up and getting him to bed. He's so pale.
Ida's already off to jump in the boat and fetch the doctor. After the doctor examines Captain Lewis, it's clear the man has suffered a stroke. He's going to live, but he's having trouble walking or doing much of anything.
Ida and her mother decide they can handle caring for Captain Lewis and seeing to the duties of the lighthouse. Ida had been learning from her dad for the last 3 years and knows what needs to be done.
So Ida and her mother split the lighthouse duties, all while caring for Captain Lewis and the rest of their family. It's now the fall, 1858. One cloudy day, 16-year-old Ida watches as dark clouds overhead begin to churn into a frenzy. When the storm whips up into a rage, she sees a sailboat getting tossed around in the harbor. Within moments, the small boat capsizes. She can see men struggling in the choppy ocean.
Ida doesn't even think. She just reacts. She runs to the rowboat tied to the island and rows her boat out to where the men have capsized. It only takes her a few minutes to reach them. The grateful young sailors climb into the rowboat, and Ida gets them back to shore.
Ida acted with bravery and heroism, and all out of instinct. She finds these feelings suit her too.
Word spreads about Ida's brave act, and that the Lime Rock Lighthouse is mostly managed by the two women these days. Folks in Newport are impressed. Sailors who come in and out of the Newport harbor know they're in good hands.
Years pass, and all the while, Ida, her mother, and her father watch it all from Lime Rock Light. Ida and her mother continue to work the lighthouse and keep a sharp eye out on the water for any signs of danger. It's now late March, 1869, and winter isn't quite through with Newport just yet. The snow is falling hard, and the winds are making the harbor choppy.
Look out in the water.
But who would be out on a little boat like that in weather like this?
There's a small rowboat making its way towards Fort Adams across Newport Harbor. I can see two men are in the boat.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a kid up front, too. They're really... I think it just capsized.
They did capsize. They just flipped over in these icy waters. Though Ida has been sick with a cold, she's racing out the door without even bothering with her coat or her shoes.
She's rowing as fast as she can out to the capsized rowboat where two men cling for dear life. She knows in water this cold, she only has minutes before the men go hypothermic.
Ida closes the distance quickly, and soon she's pulling Sergeant James Adams and Private John McLaughlin into her boat. The kid she saw on the boat is nowhere to be seen. As Ida rows the men back to Lime Rock Lighthouse, she learns they hired a 14-year-old boy who claimed to know his way around a boat. But when the boat flipped, the boy was lost.
Word of the heroic rescue spreads fast. One of the rescued soldiers gifts Ida a gold watch as a thank you. The soldiers of Fort Adams take up a collection and give Ida over $200 as a reward.
Wow.
Everyone around Newport is buzzing about the hero of Lime Rock Light.
Pretty soon, the whole nation is buzzing about Ida Lewis. Newspapers around the country carry the story. The Humane Society of Massachusetts, the New York Life-Saving Benevolent Association each award Ida with a silver medal for her heroism.
Now, Ida is getting more than just a medal, too. The folks in Newport gather a fund and gift Ida a blue oak surf boat named Rescue. She's become a celebrity, too. Hundreds of people make their way to Lime Rock Island just to meet her.
In the coming years, Ida suffers her own personal tragedies. Her father passed away in 1873. Her mother got cancer and died in 1877, leaving Lime Rock Light in Ida Lewis's charge. However, getting the official appointment of lighthouse keeper was difficult because she's a woman.
That's when one of Ida's biggest fans stepped in to help.
Who's that?
Well, none other than Civil War hero and former Rhode Island governor, General Ambrose Burnside.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess it pays to have friends or fans in high places.
It sure does. Burnside works his contacts to make sure Ida receives the official commission of lighthouse keeper. And she secures an annual salary of $750, making her the highest paid lighthouse keeper in the nation.
More years pass, as do more rescues. The fearless Ida continues to make the newspapers for her acts of bravery. It's 1881 when she's awarded the United States Life-Saving Medal of the First Class. She's the first woman to ever receive the medal. Go ahead and read the citation, Ray.
Okay, it says rescuing from drowning at various times at least 13 persons, and particularly for a rescue of two soldiers who had broken through the ice near Lime Rock on the afternoon of February 4th, 1881.
Ida continues to serve as the lighthouse keeper well into her 60s. She makes her last official rescue when she was 63 years old. And that brings us back to today. Ida Lewis worked Lime Rock Lighthouse for 54 years. Officially, she saved 18 lives, though some believe the actual number could be as high as 25.
And the honors don't end for Ida. Today, the yacht club is called Ida Lewis Yacht Club, as we mentioned earlier. And in 1995, the U.S. Coast Guard named the first of a new class of buoy tenders, the USCGC Ida Lewis.
Ida died October 24th, 1911, and is buried in the Common Burial Ground and Island Cemetery in Newport. And her grave stands out, too. You can't miss it. It's got pillars around it with a chain and a large stone with an anchor and oars embossed at the top. It's tough to miss.
I love stories like this, Jeff.
Yeah.
Today, it seems like only negative events and people make the news and go viral. This looks back at a time when acts of bravery and heroism made all the papers. I wish we could hear more news stories like this today.
Oh, I get it. When you hear about stories like this, you can't help but ask yourself, how can you be more like Ida? Would you jump into icy waters to save a stranger? She did, more than once. No matter how you measure it, Ida Lewis was a hero.
That she was. And that takes us to After the Legend, where we dive deeper into this week's story and sometimes veer off course.
After the Legends, brought to you by our Patreon patrons. This group of insiders are the backbone of everything we do. They get early ad-free access to our new episodes, plus bonus episodes and content no one else gets to hear, and discounts on tickets and products we have coming out. They take care of us, so we do all we can to take care of them. The only thing missing is you. Just $3 per month, and it helps us out quite a bit. To sign up, please head over to patreon.com/New England Legends. And to see some historic photos of Ida Lewis and her lighthouse, click on the link in our episode description or go to our website and click on episode 356.
You have to listen to every episode of New England Legends.
Okay, I have.
You have? Good.
Yeah.
Because, some are negative, some are scary, some are about sea monsters, but then we have historical stories as well.
Yep.
And stories of heroism like this Ida story. So I just always picture somebody listening to one of the silly ones.
Yeah.
One of the like Bigfoot or whatever, or some kind of cryptid, right? But with so much more than that.
Yeah, we do it all.
I was really proud of this one.
So when you drive to Fort Adams, you go right along the water, and then you see the yacht club. Yacht clubs, let's face it, unless you have the money to be a member of a yacht club, which we do not.
I was at one on the Cape this past weekend.
Right.
And it was, I'm like, I
Fish
don't
out of
belong
water.
here. What am I doing here?
Jeeves, right?
And I'm watching these people go back and forth, getting on their yachts, and I'm like, geez.
Did anyone walk up to you and go, yes, I'll take a highball, and
They just knew I didn't
my wife
belong
here will
there.
have a martini, and make it snappy, boy. And you're like, oh, okay.
I made good tips that day.
I'll just get it. I don't work here, but I'll just go get it.
Parking their cars.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but you drive by it, and you see over the white arch, it says Ida Lewis Yacht Club. And if you don't know, you might just be like, oh, she must be some rich person,
Right,
who
yeah.
owned the place or whatever, right?
Donated, yeah.
Yeah, nope. She's a hero.
Yeah.
Who lived out on that island, and there was no pier back then. It was about 800 feet, right, almost a football field.
It is nice to know that it wasn't somebody with money
Yeah,
that the yacht club is named after.
Someone
'Cause
worthy.
Usually that's what happens. We're
Yeah.
going to give you a big donation, and you just name the auditorium after me or
Right,
whatever.
right.
This was an actual hero.
yeah. There's certain sports, I guess, if we can call it that, where like you can be poor and get yourself a tennis racket or a basketball,
Yeah.
or baseball or like a football, right? Any number of things. I don't think you can be poor and get a yacht.
Probably not.
I'm guessing. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe we missed something. Also, super fun fact, the big fan of Ida Lewis, General Ambrose
yeah.
Burnside.
Yeah.
You know what he gave us besides Ida Lewis's official, station there
Yeah.
at the Lighthouse? He gave us the sideburns.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's right. So Burns from Burnside, we get the sideburns. You got to see it. We should throw an old photo up too on the website. He had these. I don't even know what you call them.
Classic.
But they were something.
Yeah.
And he was kind of the
They
first.
weren't
to
just
wear 'em.
sideburns. They were all around
They were
burns.
so it came down and then up over the mustache,
Yeah.
but the chin was shaved.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
So he
Not lately.
but I've seen that before back in the 1800s when this guy from Rhode Island was
When I was rowing my boat
I'm
around
gonna
the
do
harbor.
something weird with the old facial hair.
Yeah.
So we get the sideburns from General Burnside and former governor, which is really cool. But yeah, no, it's a great story, and we don't hear enough of these. Yeah, sure, sometimes heroic stories do go viral. We get a few of them today.
A few.
But nothing like someone being a jerk. You know, like
No, the stories we get and the people that go viral are like the Haktua girl. I still can't pronounce it.
Haktua. I had a few laughs over that. Harmless, anyway.
She's giving back though.
She is.
When we make fun of her, we got to remember
Yeah.
that she's taking a lot of the money she's making for appearances and doing good things with it. Good for her.
She's a phenomenon. No, there's no question. But honest, innocent enough, right? She didn't do anything bad. She didn't do anything good.
It was funny. She was drunk with a friend.
Yeah,
She's
right.
of age, so
Yeah,
that's fine.
Right. Totally. Just a kid just being that honest. But you saw that and you're like, I bet we could be friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of person I'd hang out with.
Yeah.
And I guess that's part of her appeal. But yeah, no, we need more of these good stories where you're just like, wow. Because it makes you want to aspire to do better.
Sure.
It makes you want to say like, well, what would I do that? Right. It's a big question. I mean, if you see icy waters, and it's tough for people to understand when someone goes into icy water, minutes, your body just shuts down. It gets so cold. You can't swim. You can't move your arms.
Oh yeah.
I remember when we were training up in the White Mountains hiking, at some point, my hands were just so cold. I couldn't move them. I couldn't move my fingers, and I was well covered everywhere else. And I had those heat packs that you can heat up, but I couldn't use the motor skills in my fingers to unzip my backpack and grab a new heat pack. I had to have someone do that for me. And I'm like, well, that's scary.
You're right.
But imagine your whole body being like limp, and
you're in the water,
minutes, and then you're not moving your arms and legs enough to stay above.
Yeah,
you go below, you're dead.
Right.
And so you see a stranger do that, and to barefoot, no coat, like I'm on it. That's just instinct. And I think some people have that instinct where there's danger and they go directly toward it, and they don't care what happens to them. They're gonna try.
Has that happened to you before?
I do find I'm the type of person that runs toward a problem.
I think I would.
Yeah. Like, I mean, when I've been around, I watched a car in front of me drive right off the road. Didn't even hit the brakes, right off an embankment. And I was the first to stop and called 911 and went down there. And the driver's eyes are just wide open. And I'm like, he's dead. He's dead at the wheel.
Oh, he was?
Well, it
could have been
staring, and the car's still running. It's on its side, laying against a tree.
Yeah.
I didn't see any blood or anything. Just a commuter that morning, and the police arrived very quickly. And suddenly, the guy sort of shakes his head and starts to look around. Best I can figure, he either had a seizure or a stroke.
Maybe.
But he was okay. We helped him out of the car, got him in an ambulance, on his own feet and everything. But no one else stopped. Just me and one other guy.
Yeah, I watched a guy go off into someone's yard and then hit a tree.
Yeah.
And I did pull right over and I ran towards it. Now, I'm somebody who doesn't want to see graphic
carnage.
Right, exactly. And I know that about me.
Yeah.
Like you watch movies and you know it's not real, but it's like, ugh. So real life, I think that would freak me out. But I still ran towards it, and the guy was foaming at the mouth, and paramedics came. I left, and he ended up dying. Unfortunately. So I actually was watching a guy die.
But you tried.
But I tried. I did. I called 911. I directed the ambulance to the location.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to think that I would be.
But like for me, and maybe this is why I did it. If I kept driving, it would haunt me.
Sure. Yeah. What would have happened?
What if I could have helped and he just needed a couple more minutes in an ambulance and would have been okay?
Right.
That would haunt me to not stop and try.
Right.
So we do. And I'd like to think, we need more great examples like Ida Lewis, who reminds us that there are some people who are just selfless and make it their job to help others.
Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a minute of this weirdness. Also, if you post a review for us or tell a few friends, that helps us out a lot. Goes a long way in more people joining our community and helping find new stories to check out. Also, check out our New England Legends Facebook group and our free smartphone app.
We'd like to thank our sponsors. Thank you to our Patreon patrons, and our theme music is by John Judd.
Until next time, remember,
the bizarre is closer than you think.